Welcome to the podcast with your favorite cash flow guys, Mike and Blaine. Giving you the best advice while having a beer. When you're running a business, there are problems every day. Let Mike and Blaine help you out and guide your way. Cheers to the good times with Mike and Blaine for business, beer, and BS.
Hey, it's episode 124 of Mike and Blaine. Super exciting news. We do have a new sponsor. We are rolling it out today, and I have got a story to tell about this sponsor. But before we get to them, we got some people that help us out on a weekly basis, right? We got some people that help us out, that are friends, that are neighbors, that love us. Who we got?
Yeah, and thank you again, because the beer part of the business beer and BS is courtesy CPA Larry Weinstein down in Houston. Thank you again so much, Larry. Neighbor Pat. Oh, love Pat. He brings you all the stuff, but anyway, still love neighbor Pat. And one more.
Rachel Barnett of Gentle Frog. She can teach you how to do QuickBooks better than anybody in 2 countries. So go check out Gentle Frog. If you want to learn how to do QuickBooks, go check her out. I'm Mike Blaine, also known as Cashflow Mike. I run a business where I teach accountants, bookkeepers, and business owners how to find hidden cash in their business. You can pick up a free copy of my book, The 7-Minute Conversation, Analyze Any Business in 7 minutes or less at cashflowmike.com. That is my partner, Blaine Birch. He is the CEO and founder of Dry Run, the best cash flow forecasting software on the planet. So let me tell you about, all right, neighbor Pat brought me in some beer, right? Like usual, neighbor Pat is always supplying me with some beer. He brought me some, and I wasn't going to do Prairie Artisan ales 2 weeks in a row. I wasn't going to, because he brought me a different one that I could have flipped out. But it's 71 degrees here today. It's January, 71 degrees in San Antonio. We've had some cold weather. It's been as low in the 30s. We're getting ready to have a cold streak next week. So I had to break out the Heatwave for this 70 degree weather. And this is a pineapple mango, right? The Heatwave is a pineapple mango. So I'm excited for this one. I've never had it before. It's got habanero in it too. So man, that's where the heat wave comes in, is in the habanero. So thank you, Pat. I'm going to have that today. What do you got?
Who's the brewery from that one? That's not Prairie.
Yeah,
it is Prairie. Okay.
Yeah, remember I told you I wasn't going to, because last week I did a Prairie beer as well.
Yeah.
I brought 2 different ones, and I normally don't like to do that. But I'm like going, the weather is too good to pass it up. I got to go ahead and do it.
Well, and Prairie's, I love Prairie. They're such a great little brewery. So that's such a good pick that I don't mind doing them 5 weeks in a row. They're just great. Now I went to the fridge because the topic today, under promise and over deliver. That's what we're all talking about today, right? And I found a beer that does exactly that. Very well-known beer. Founders, KBS, Kentucky Breakfast Stout. It is such a well-known one. This used to be super hard to get. It's 12%. It's aged in bourbon barrels. It is an outstanding beer. And you look at the label, it just says KBS.
Yeah.
And the lid's off of it, so you can't see, but it's a sticker on top. When I looked at it, $5.49. I went up to the till and I'm like, did you guys misticket this? Because it should not be. A Prairie Artisan Ales would be probably 3 times as much. This thing is massively over delivering for how good a beer it is for $5. It's just unbelievable. So
it's like bacon in a bottle.
It's beautiful. It's great. Yeah.
Right on. So that's really interesting. You talk about, over promise, under deliver, under promise, over deliver. Whichever way you say it. I think you want to do it one way over the other.
Yeah. Under promise, over deliver, right? Did I have it wrong? I thought they got it backwards, did I?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I've been the one screwing up. When we had just a call earlier today, congratulating ourselves for our new sponsor, I said it wrong.
You better memorize it. We want to make sure we're telling people, do it the right way. Under promise, over deliver. That's what we're.
So what we're talking about is the psychology of the customer, right? Well, what is it like to be on the opposite end of that? because when we're talking about small businesses and we're talking about what we deliver, that promise we deliver, and why you should buy it from us, I call that the value proposition. But this is where the rubber hits the road. This is when you can take one interaction, one customer experience, and tip the scales. And it's not always in the right direction, but that's what we're talking about: is what is the promise you deliver, and then how do you deliver it?
Yeah. So. And the over deliver does not have to be expensive or hard. It can just be like, okay, one of the little beer shops close to us here, a little place we go, Winding Pig. Actually, I think you know where the Winding Pig is. You walked by it the one night.
Been there.
Like something like 100 beer on tap. Yeah, you've been there. 100 beer on tap. Great little space. And there's a guy that works there. When we went in the first time a few years ago, first time he saw me, he's like, "Hey, how you doing? Welcome." And just we're super friendly. Okay, that's great. We went back maybe 3-4 nights later, walked in, he looked at me and he says, "I got a beer you're going to love." And he remembered not only that I had just been in before, he remembered that I had got a stout the time before. And he was like, "Here's a dark beer." This is pre-COVID. His schedule isn't the same as ours, apparently, when we walk over there, because we haven't seen him for probably like a couple of years. We walked in the other night and he goes, "Welcome back." He goes, "Matt, I bet you I haven't seen you in months." And I'm like, I didn't say anything, but I'm like, yeah, it's probably years. This guy, again, remembered, and he actually still kind of knew what beer we're talking, like what we liked. And I'm like, that doesn't cost anything. That's just great customer service, but that is massively over delivering. And I just think that you can over deliver without spending extra money and sending more stuff, right?
Yeah, because when we're talking about the promise, we're just talking about what the customer expects. Like you expect to go in there and have a wide variety of beers. You expect, I guess, because they only sell grilled cheese or something like that, you expect to have a grilled cheese. Is it grilled cheese or hot dogs? Just one of the two.
They got grilled cheese sandwiches and a charcuterie board. That's all.
Yeah, that's it. Right. That's all you expect to not have a great choice of food, but you don't expect to have that level of service. That's the over delivery, right? That's the promise is, hey, under promise, we're only going to give you grilled cheese. We're going to give you a great selection of beer, but gosh darn it, we're going to remember everything about you when you come in. Even your mother's maiden name for your password, they'll remember that too, probably.
You don't want to share that. Let's just keep that to ourselves. Yeah, exactly. There are opportunities. There's so many opportunities to offer something to a customer, and it's all about like making them feel really good, making them feel happy that they purchased from you, making them feel supported and heard, even if they're angry. Like one of the things that we've had, like we get very few complaints, but when we have someone come in and says, "I have a problem with this," like our strategy is get back to them as fast as possible. If it's under 30 seconds, that's great. We may not have an answer, but they just want to hear that, "Hey, thanks for letting us know. Let us look into that and we'll get back to you." And sometimes it's just an explanation of, yeah, this is just how this works because you do this, right? And sometimes it's like, "Oh, thanks for letting us know." Let's get back to him fast and get back to him professionally and friendly.
Yeah, I created a customer service mantra. It's an acronym that I make my customer service teams live by. Ever tell you about this?
You did, but I can't remember what it was, and now I want to hear it again because I remember it was really good.
I want all my customers to have an aura, right? AURA, right? Because that kind of puts a halo effect around the customer. The focus is on the customer. Now, I developed this based on the rules of survival. It's basically what it is. And the rules of survival is you can live 3 minutes without air. You can live 3 hours without warmth. You can live 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food, right? That's where it starts, right? Is it kind of this rule of threes? I'm like, well, I can extend that out to my survival as a business by saying, "Hey, well, look, even Facebook likes it," or
over delivering right there.
But meaning that I need customers to help my business survive. So
Yeah.
how can I apply that same principle to my business?
Mhm.
Well, AURA is a series of steps that are time phased, which means you do each one of them before a specific time limit, right? So A is
Yeah.
acknowledge, U is update, R is resolve, and A is approach. And what I mean by that is when somebody has a question, a concern, a problem, or whatever, and they come to, Cash Flow Mike, and they want to, they have a problem with their account or whatever it is, I'm going to acknowledge that I saw their complaint. Not that I'm going to do anything about it. Just say, hey, saw it. Let me work on it. And I'm going to do that in hours, right? Just like
Yeah.
hopefully within 1 hour. Then
Yeah.
I'm going to update them, the update. I'm going to update you within the end of the day. Didn't get it done, still working on it. Want to let you know I didn't forget about you. That's just an update. Then I'm
Yeah.
going to resolve it within 1 week, right? Which means
Mhm.
even if the resolution isn't what they want, it isn't what they expected, it's what I can do, they're at least going to have resolution and we can both clear this off our plates. And then approach is I don't want a month to go by without approaching my customers somehow, email, a text, a Facebook post, somehow that they hear from me. So that's kind of the rule of ones for me, which is, acknowledge in 1 hour, update in 1 day, resolve in 1 week, approach in 1 month. So what do you think?
Well, I think it's it's something that businesses should live by because, and like I said, the part I talked about was acknowledge it really quick. Of course, we try and get to some resolve it, keep them up to date, basically go through those sorts of steps. But it's really important because too many people wait way too long. It's like, well, when I get to it, and by the time you get to them, they're seething, they're confused, they're sending in multiple requests, they're like just like, hey, thanks, we'll get back to you. And that's why you get those automated emails. Even though they're automated, it helps a lot. So you can get an automated email like, we've seen your complaint, it's now, we're going to get back to you within 24 hours, right?
So 2 days ago, I had a service that I purchased. I spent $1,000. When you spend $1,000, you expect somebody to talk to you somehow.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's an email, I don't care if it's an automated email. Just tell me what to expect next.
Yeah.
I've gotten 0 in 2 days out of this $1,000. I don't even know if they're working on the project, right? And I'm like going, I've called, had to leave a voice message, no response. I used their support email, no response.
Yeah.
I called today and finally got somebody that couldn't really tell me anything. They said, oh, we have to move that to some other department. I used the chat on the website. And the name of the chat is AI bot operator. And nobody responded. I'm like going, damn, even your robots don't respond. I mean, it's really bad when you can't get an AI robot to respond. I mean,
Yeah.
to a chat.
Well, you know what? They trained it to their culture.
They must have it. That is what you can expect from us, right? So, I mean, that's the promise they deliver. And they over-deliver on non-response.
On not responding, exactly.
But I'm telling you, that's the total opposite. That's tipping the scales the other way. I'm like, if I have a choice next time, first of all, they haven't started the project, so I might have a choice tomorrow if I don't hear back from them, right? So, but it's one of those things. If I have a choice, that company's name will be excluded from anything I do in the future, just based on 4 contacts,
Exactly.
0. Yeah, 0.
Yeah, exactly. I had an experience last week as well. So, we order a lot of stuff online. I'll admit, one place we don't order online or never have before is Walmart. And I'm calling you out, Walmart, because you can learn from this. Learn from Blaine. And actually, I'll show you what I got. I got this big giant insulated jug, and I just have water in it. It's nice. It's dishwasher friendly. It's like a Yeti, which we have a bunch of Yeti stuff, but it was a really good price, and I'm like, I'm going to buy that, right? So I ordered this thing. We ordered 2 of them, and they were on sale, and we got a really good deal. One shows up. but the ticket thing says 2 were delivered. I'm like, no, there's 1 delivered, and we can see them carrying the 1 up on the Ring doorbell. So I phoned Walmart because that's where I thought I had bought it from. And it was like smashing my head against the wall. They're basically like, nah. And then they said, well, it's actually bought through a third party. And I said, no, it was on your website and I bought it from you guys. Well, most people don't realize unless they look at the fine print, it's actually from a third party. So they're absolutely passing the buck. And they weren't doing a thing. We're just like, we can't get any more for you.
Yeah. Does Walmart make any money on this transaction? Well, yeah, then I bought it from you.
That's exactly it. So I was not very happy with that. And I told them that. I'm like, yeah, I bought it from you guys, right? And so then they pointed out who the business was, and I'm like, you're going to have to contact them. And so now it's like they're like, they'll take the money, they'll put them on the website, do everything. And as soon as you have a problem, it's like, you're going to have to talk with them and basically you're screwed. So I am so incensed by now that I'm like trying to find a place where I can write a review for Walmart and for this third party and all this. And I can't find them and I'm annoyed. And then it was on the weekend and then Monday shows up and the third party gets in touch with me and says, we got one in the mail for you right now. And they took care of it without any questions. And I was like, how come Walmart, who's a bajillion-dollar company, basically just made the situation 1,000 times worse and made me so frustrated and so angry. And then this small business went out of their way to fix this. And you and I talked beforehand, you know that I had a couple experiences this week when the big guy was an asshole and us as small businesses hold ourselves to a much higher standard. And it's kind of, I was a little frustrated with that, to be honest, that you see these guys, I'm like, they're not leading the way. They're just kind of, they get big enough to be a dick is what's happening, right?
Well, I mean, Amazon's the same way, Walmart, all that. I mean, they just sell fiddle hoppers all over the place.
Beauty. I love it. We're just rolling it in.
Hey, look, I told you we're going to work that in every single episode. I'm going to get fiddle hopper in there. So they're selling these fiddle hoppers all over.
Hoppers, yep.
But here's what's happening. They're, like you said, they're impervious to this. They don't care what your customer experience really is because they're like, they kind of do. They say, well, we're all about the customer, but not when it comes down to it. There's really not a connection to the customer. They're too big to connect.
Yeah, exactly. And I will say that like over the past year, I can think off the top of my head immediately 3 different companies that were really small businesses that I ordered stuff from that sent personal handwritten notes. Thanks, Blaine. Really appreciate your business.
Yeah.
Just handwritten. This company, this shirt that I got on here, Unbound Merino, and I'm going to promote them because they're awesome. I love their stuff. The very first shirt I bought from them had a little hole in it. Little tiny hole. And so I'm like, what the hell? Because it's kind of an expensive shirt. And so but I like the color because it was a very short-term color and all that. So I sent them a note and they said, well, we're out of that color because it was a very special short-term color, but I will send you any other shirt right now and keep that one.
Mm.
And they had that next shirt to me in like 2 days. And I just went over to the tailor and they stitched it up. And I'm like, actually, it's kind of perfect now. I've had it for a couple of years. But that again was over deliver. Like, and the fact is it's sometimes it's not even under deliver. It's like complete like disregard for customers. And I can't believe that businesses let people walk away and tell everyone the worst experience they've had over pennies, right?
Hey, have you ever had any interaction with Facebook or Instagram?
No, not direct. We've done a little bit of ads with Facebook, but I don't think I've never talked with anyone. Maybe someone on my team has.
Yeah, I'm talking about a problem with them. Dude,
okay. No.
You're not going to get them. Matter of fact, I've spent hours just scouring their website and everywhere else. I'm like, how in the hell do you even contact these folks? They have built such a wall between them and their customers.
Yeah.
That and they don't care if they fix the problem or not. They're like, oh, we got a billion customers. You're just one of them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They put a restriction on my Instagram account. Didn't tell me why. Didn't tell me how to fix it. And then they tell me, well, you got to have access to the email that's associated with this account. And I'm going, I do. I do. I mean, there's nobody's out there posting. There's nobody else that owns it. It's just that I can't do anything with the account because they've restricted the account for an unknown reason, and they won't communicate what the reason is.
Yeah. Yeah. I can only think of one company, and I'm not going to try and play big booster here, but I can only think of one company that's massive that does a good job, and that's Apple. And I'll tell you how I know they do a good job, because my dad goes over to the Apple store like literally once every couple of weeks. And instead of coming to me and saying, well, I can't figure this out, he just literally goes to the Apple store and he tells them, like, well, this is what the problem I have with my phone or my iPad. They're 5, 6, 7 years old. It doesn't matter. They just take care of them. They're just like, yeah, let me get you sorted out. And that's a cultural thing that goes all the way down to the front line, right?
They've done a really nice job, not only with brand, but just product integration. Like everything just kind of works, where Apple is like kind of clunky. Like things don't, or not Apple, like Microsoft, Google, Windows products seem a little clunky to me. But the way you check out at Apple, it took me at least one trip to go, do I like it or not? Right? Because you don't go up to a counter and take your stuff up there. Their salespeople are walking the floor and they can check you out wherever you are. You don't have to go queue up in a line, to check out. You got to queue up in a line and get somebody to talk to you. But you don't have to queue up in a line to check out. You can just say, hey, I need a new blah. And they come there and they'll just take your payment right there. And if you're on Apple Pay, I mean, you almost got to do nothing and just walk out.
Yeah. You can actually check out without a person too. I've done that before, where I picked something off the like as a new phone case. I picked it up. This is a few years ago, and it said like, well, you can check out. I'm like, all right. So I don't know, paid with Apple Pay, and then it literally said on my phone, it's like, well, you're free to go. And I'm like, all right, here we go. And hopefully I don't get the SWAT team tackling me walking out of the store. But no, they were just like, you're good.
When they opened that first Amazon Go store in Seattle, right? I lived in Seattle then, and I went, right? So as soon as you go in, it kind of logs you in with your Amazon account. Yeah. So it's already connected to a credit card, and then you just pick stuff up and walk out. Mm-hmm. It's very hard not to feel like you're stealing. Just like you don't talk to nobody, you don't.
Feels weird.
You gotta be very you gotta be very careful what you pull off the shelf because it gets put in your basket. Your virtual basket, right? So I mean, because they got these RFID sensors and stuff all over the ceiling and on the shelving units that detects movement of the product. Yeah. Right. Yeah. But man, it's an uncomfortable feeling the first couple of times. Like, are you guys sure? Is this okay? Yeah. Can I really just walk out with this stuff?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you about an underdeliver now because this just kind of popped into my head. So over the holidays, I renovated our two of our bathrooms. We had 3 sinks in the 2 bathrooms, and painted the bathrooms, replaced the lights, and planned to replace the faucets. Ordered the lights from Wayfair, ordered the faucets from Wayfair, and lights showed up, faucets didn't. And then I got an email and it said, "Oh, the faucets are back ordered, but good news, faucets are like products are virtually always delivered with the new sort of date. New date comes, no, faucets are still delayed, but good news, they're almost always delivered on the new date." And so I'm waiting again for the new date. And the new date came and went, and then they wrote and said, "We don't have any more faucets." So they canceled my order. So they kept my money for 3 weeks. I was planning on installing them over the holidays, and they just like buggered off. And so I ended up going straight to Delta, buying from Delta directly. And I actually got a really good deal from them. They were in my house in like 2 days. And then I installed them and smashed my head. I'll just show right here several times on the cupboard over and over again, trying to get out of under the cupboard. I kept bashing the same spot. I should have got smart. But Heather said to me, she goes, "It's a good thing you didn't show me that till after, because you know what I would have done." And I said, "Yeah," and I would have been annoyed because she would have told me to put on a helmet.
No.
She did that one time. I bashed my head doing some home renovation, and she walked up with my bike helmet and wanted me to wear it, and that just made me really annoyed.
You know what's funny is that I'm a heftier guy, so I put in a faucet. First summer we moved in here into the new home, and I got one of those. I think it's Delta, but it's one of these LED lights that tells you when the water temperature is cold or hot.
Okay, nice.
See that? And there's no electricity connected to this thing. It runs on kinetic energy, and it somehow it's just the flow of the water that powers it, and it detects the temperature of the water, and it's always right. It's fantastic.
Yeah. But
underneath that sink is like 18 inches of space, and I'm a 24-inch guy or whatever, but just enough where I can't fit in there. So it's an awkward, ugly,
awful.
It's terrible. It's just everything about it's bad. So I think you got to be a little guy to do those things.
Well, like you said, I'm schmedium and managed to pull it, but I sure feel way too big to be doing this because there's not a lot of room under there. And I will give credit to my brother-in-law, Darren, because there's some old equipment under there that I was trying to replace everything. I'm like, I'm doing it right. I'm not doing it once, I'm doing it right. And it was just so seized up. I couldn't get some of the stuff out, but it actually worked totally fine. But I was getting drips and stuff. And so my brother-in-law was like on texting me over the phone, sending pictures back and forth for like 3 days, just like coaching me through all of this. So it's all beautiful now. It works like a hot damn. But
you remember 2 years ago when I was just killing the pool company, just like on everything they did, just hated everything they did.
Yeah.
All right. So the last month I've had a pool light problem, right? Pool light. It's an LED light, but there's something goofy where it burned out like 2 or 3 of the LEDs in the circular light.
Okay.
And I called them up and said, "No problem, it's under warranty." Sent it out, and boom! I mean, it was there within 2 or 3 days. Even sent me a return label for FedEx to send the old one back. I put the new one in, and it's probably something that's screwed up in the wiring. So I got an electrician coming out next, but 3 more lights burn out on the brand new one. Right?
That's not right. No.
I took a video of it, and I said, I don't know if the lights are low quality or poor quality or bad, but, or it's something we did wrong, but it didn't work. How do I get a different one? This one has, 3 lights, and it looks weird. The LED lights, if some of them are missing, it looks weird.
You know what? I know it's weird, but it's probably the bulb, a second bulb that's kind of messed up.
All right. Well, they sent me a 3rd pool light.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the company I fought with over everything.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden, there's something that's happened in the last 2 years since I haven't really talked to them, that their customer service. So I want to, give them some props. That boom, there's another light here. It's brand new. They've tested it before they send it out. I'm going to make sure that the wiring is all correct before we do something else here. But man, they have really stepped up their game, and I'm not going to say they're over delivering, but more than I expect because of what what my expectation was is what I had before.
Yeah.
And now they have really turned things around. So all the hell I gave them 2 years ago on these podcasts, I'm going to give them credit for all the work they've done to turn their business around.
Good for them. Yeah. Just doing a good, solid job, doing the right thing. That's what I was saying before we got on the show, that these big businesses a lot of times can get away with murder. And like our philosophy is always do the right thing. Right. And small businesses are held to that. I gotta tell you a little story here, because this is really interesting on the over deliver part, because Heather and I went to a concert just in a small concert venue a couple of weeks ago, and it's interesting because it's a band, right? But they've been around for a long time. But as soon as I walk in, You know me, like you do the exact same thing. You go in, you see a band there, and I'm thinking, well, it's literally a small business. And I'm like, yeah, how many people are in here? What are the ticket price? They're doing 2 nights in a row. They got like, and I'm looking at the crew, and I'm like, okay, they're saving some money over here, and I'm like just got the whole thing going right. And so we're standing there, and the people beside us start chatting with us. They've been to 35 shows. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you've been to 35 shows? We followed them to Mexico every year. We've gone, we had pictures taken at Stonehenge in the UK. They're showing us pictures of them with the band. And I'm like, oh, wow, these guys are like huge fans of this band. And it's Roger Klein and the Peacemakers. Long story, had part of the refreshments, or the guys were the refreshments before. Now they're this, right? And I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like, okay, cool. The show starts, and I realize this is literally the only thing I can compare it to is either the Grateful Dead or Jimmy Buffett. They're singing, and everybody else in the room except for us knows every word to every song and is chanting out the words to the song, right? Now, but I figured out what they do. They massively over deliver. It's not just the music, right? It's chantable. So they're smart there. But the interesting thing is we've seen a couple shows there. The first one we were in the front row, but there's a little barrier, right? This one, no barrier. So it's literally kind of half sitting on the stage before the show starts, and then you kind of turn around. We're just off to the right. The bassist is right in front of us. This is how they over deliver. That bassist had me play his bass. He's giving me fist bumps, and I'm looking down, and they're shaking hands with people in between one of the songs. He's wishing a birthday wish to somebody that's seen on their 50th show. The guy beside me has been to 35 shows. He's holding up his phone, and I realize he's FaceTiming with his kid. So his kid can watch the show, and the bassist is turning, and he's putting like the end of the bass, and he's laughing, and he's waving at the kid and I'm like, they're over delivering to the fans. The show ends. They walk down, shake all of our hands. And like this, there's 500 people in the room, but all the people in the front row, second row, third row, shake hands. They're hanging around after talking with fans. And I'm like, they're over delivering, but really all they're doing is engaging with their customers. That's it. Engaging with their customers, and that's it. And appreciating
You feel like you're part of it. You feel like you're part of it. Yeah, man, that's fantastic. Hey, speaking of feeling like we're part of it, we're part of a new sponsor.
We are.
We're part of a movement. We're part of a product. We're part of we got some stuff now. So you want to be the one, or I'll be the one? Hey, let me introduce you to our new title sponsor. Our new title sponsor is Magic Mind. It is the perfect supplement to your coffee in the morning, right? So I got to tell you, I'm always
Apple. Okay, Apple just under-delivered right there. It gave
what did you put a thumb down?
It put a thumbs down when you were showing the product. So let's Apple, you under-delivered.
Yeah, that was me. That was me, and these dumbass gestures or whatever. But let me tell you about this. Let me tell you about this product. All right. So first of all, I'm as a Texan or whatever, I'm probably not the guy that does a lot of supplements. I'm just not. But I'm like going, this is something. And I tell you, they sent me a beautiful package. I got it right there at the house. I open it up. I'm going to put the picture of me opening it up on Facebook. So if you go to Mike and Blaine's Facebook page, you'll see me with the whole package that they sent me of this product. And I tried it, right? And Blaine and I are not the type of guys that will go around and sponsor a product or allow them to sponsor our show if we don't like it.
Yeah,
we're just not going to. No. So I'm skeptical because, I mean, look at it. It doesn't even, it doesn't appeal to me right off the bat. But I'm telling you, I liked it for this reason. First of all, I expected, supplements, I don't know, maybe it doesn't taste that good. That's not it. This one actually tastes good. If you remember those little hugs, right? When we were kids, there were little Kool-Aid jugs with tinfoil on the top, and they were red and they were purple and green and all this, and you would drink them. If you remember that flavor, that's what you're getting out of this. You're getting a great tasting supplement, something that's easy to consume with anything that you're eating or drinking. It was perfect with my coffee that morning. It was just absolutely right. And believe it or not, 2 weeks prior to this, before it showing up, it was the holiday period, and I was sluggish. I don't know what's happening to me. Even I was low energy on this show. Even I thought, I even talked to you.
You were one day, you were like just out of it.
I'm like, yeah, I was just kind of. I was in a brain fog, all that. I said, I'm gonna try Magic Mind. So I tried Magic Mind. And man, I sat it down at the desk and I was on fire. Everything I was doing was just absolutely perfect. I was focused. I had energy. Nothing could distract me. I was in. I was all in. And it was all thanks to Magic Mind that day. So I'm going to tell you, if you're looking for that boost, if you need to relax, and it doesn't sound like I was relaxed when I was working, but man, I was relaxed just right after, because I got all of this out, all of this energy. It gave me the focus I needed to get something done. Then I just relaxed afterwards. So Magic Mind is the thing that you need. If you need focus, if you need energy, if you need to, clear your mind and relax too, it does both of those things in one drink. I'm happy we found them, and I'm happy, Blaine, you were able to close that this week.
Yeah, and the cool thing is like when I first saw it, I was saying as Mike, I'm like, it's green. I thought, oh no, is this kale? No, it's actually matcha green tea, which is awesome. And then they have all these other flavors and supplements in there. That's what makes it delicious. It's not kale. It's delicious. And this January, so get this before the end of January, because there is an unreal deal. So I'm going to just read this off because you got to know what the deal is. I don't want to mess it up. Only this January, they help you gear up to crush 2024. Your New Year's resolutions, fully focused. That's what it brings you. You get 1 month free when you're subscribing for 3 months. Now just go to magicmind.com/capital J, capital A, capital N, lowercase BBBS. So January, Jan for January, all caps BBBS, and use the code capital B, capital B, capital B, capital S 20. And you get an extra 20% off, which gives you 75% off. But you only last until the end of January. So make sure you hop on this deal right away.
Yeah. So if you want to get things done, take your Magic Mind in the morning and you'll get it done. I'm telling you. Oh, look at that.
There we go. Now Apple's over. Finally, just delivering as expected. Apple. And I gave Apple props before, and then they just like kind of crap it up there. So
I'm telling you, it was my fault. See, when I hold it up like this, it thinks it's my thumb, and then we'll do it, right? Maybe not. But when I hold it down like that, it didn't work. But hey, thank you very much for believing in us and giving us this product to promote to our audience. I know you need it. If you're running the business, you need to focus. You need this type of energy. Go check it out, Magic Mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Magic Mind. And now back to under promise, over deliver.
All right, so here's what I was thinking about, right before the break was, am I doing that, right? You got to ask yourself, if you're a business owner, you're like going, okay, I'm listening to this podcast. I'm listening to Mike and Blaine. Is it me? Do I do that? Right. So that's how I ask myself, is it me? So I think I do. Right. And I know that's not being very humble or whatever, but here's what people expect out of coaching programs. They expect fluff. They expect theory. They expect you to dance around the meat, because every time I've ever tried to do a coaching product, I guess, I feel like they're just inch up to the goal line, but never cross it. Right? Like they're always holding one thing back that I need. I'm not doing that. Right? I'm going all the way across the goal line, and I'm taking people step by step on the how. So most products or coaching programs will give you the what and the why, what you got to do and why you got to do it, but not the how. That's the sauce. That's the over deliver that I'm trying to give. So, but I have to evaluate my own self. I mean, what does dry run like to you? I mean, do you ask yourself the same question?
We do, but I'm going to tell you, there's something that we did for a while there that we analyzed, and I'm going to tell you what we did is we over delivered in the wrong place. And so I'm going to give a little bit of a cautionary note here. We tried to follow that. We talked so much about basically that philosophy of over deliver. I think we did it in the wrong place. And when we started to look at our business and go, you know what? I don't think the customer is getting enough benefit over here. We have to over deliver over here. We have to shift our focus. And it just sort of became unplugged a bit. Like it started to go and it was a little bit of a refreshing look at things and a bit of a relief. So I think what I'm saying there is it's not just sort of a strategic idea of over deliver. It's a tactical idea of where do you over deliver, and where does it give the most impact and the right impact for your customer. And I think we were actually a little bit off the mark in especially in 22 and then in 23 we started to make this shift and went, I think we're on the right path now in 24. We're over delivering in the right place. And I think it's actually really critical getting into the nitty gritty. You can actually do it wrong, and then it's not going to help your business the way you expect it to.
See, that's interesting to me because you're like, when we over delivered in the wrong place. So if I think about that sentence for just a second, I think, well, how do I avoid that? Right? I'm sitting out there listening to this podcast. How do I avoid that? I think you have to ask your question like going, if I was a customer, what do I expect? Right? Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do, especially when I was building software, with Finograph and all that. It's hard because we're in it. You know how everything is supposed to work. You know exactly how the button's supposed to be. The new person who's never saw your product, never touched your product, doesn't have that same knowledge. So it's harder, right? It's just harder. So the expectation is different. And what you think should be inherent or easy is new, right? It's just new to somebody else.
It's not an easy thing to do because you have to really understand your customer and figure out where their real key need is. What are they most concerned about? And are you like, you're over delivering is fine. Like it's good. They can maybe even see the benefit, but does it really matter? Does it move the needle for them? And that's the question that we were asking, like, where do we truly move the needle for them?
Yeah, see, but your customer base all have a deep background and understanding about forecasting. They've built their own spreadsheets. They're dealing with multiple years of history where they can dissect that data pretty easily. Where they expect you to be is to make it even easier, right? It's to take away the hours from the spreadsheet, to take away, so all of that is where you deliver the most value in my mind.
Some of it is also what they think they want versus what they actually need. And sometimes we followed a little bit of, they're comfortable. A lot of our customers are finance pros. They're very comfortable in historicals. And there's times where we added so much more complexity and detail in historicals because they kept asking for that. And it's like, no, but that's not what we're about. And that's not where business motion truly happens. The big benefit is when you're looking forward and you're making decisions before it happens. And that's what we do. We help them look forward. Right. And there was times where we focused a little bit too much on what they were comfortable with rather than where we can have the biggest impact. And when we started to really kind of change our mindset, and it's tough because it's like, well, listen to your customer. And it's sometimes, you got to read between the lines. You have to educate your customer at times, right?
What was so funny is that you said that, what they want versus what they need. That reminds me, I think we talked about it on the podcast, the Henry Ford quote.
Exactly. They want a faster horse.
Yeah. If I would have asked my customers what they wanted a faster horse instead of a car. Yeah.
Yeah. Because they can't picture a car. Exactly.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So, but that's how, if well, that's what we call innovators. That's what we call visionaries. The people that think about, well, if we're at here at this step, what's next? And that's where Steve Jobs, of course, you've talked about Apple all day today, but Steve Jobs says it best, saying, "Hey, listen, you can't get to the future from here. You have to go to the future and understand what it's going to be, and then hope that it lines up from where you are." Right.
Yeah.
And so it's and David Sandler says the same thing. And he goes, if you want to know what the future holds, you have to bring it to the present, right? Which means, okay, we did this thing. How'd we get there?
Yeah.
But what we're describing is, what is that thing? And that's a whole different skill set that some people don't have.
Yeah. And the thing, like we talk with our customers so much, we put so much stock into what they say, but I think sometimes that was where we actually, we took it as the gospel, right? When they say it, it's right. No. And I'll tell you where we uncovered some of the opportunity was in data. So they can say one thing, but they're doing something else. And when we started to really unpack data, we went, oh shit, this is where the problem is. And then we one of the things we found was sort of this account setup. So what we did is this is where we over delivered. We built a complete wizard from the ground up, and it's evolving all the time to get better. But we built it, overbuilt it, over delivered on here's how you get going. And pretty early on, we had a CFO come in and walk through. And in 3 minutes, he looked at us and goes, I can't believe this. This is client ready. Like he was absolutely, because this is something they would spend 20, 30 hours on. And we realized like that was just one sort of area that we were kind of focused on, but that we realized there was really truly understanding your customer isn't always talking with them. It's seeing what they actually do and looking at the data and merging that with those conversations, right?
Yeah. So it seems to me like they know kind of what they want to do, but they don't know how to describe it to you.
Well, sometimes they think they know, but what we found is they fall into a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comfort zone is completely opposite of what their clients, their customers that are business owners really need to know. Because you can spend all your time in what happened last year, but there's not much you can do about that. You can't change the past, right? You can learn a bit from it, but you can't change the past. What we want to do is encourage them to really focus on the future and make moves before they happen so that you actually get a massive benefit from it.
Yeah. So, all right. So what do you think you learned today in this conversation?
Well, it reaffirms that, especially as a small business, you have to over deliver. And now more than ever, it's a challenging time out there. And I know it's hard because it's a challenging time. Dollars are tight. You need to over deliver. But the big thing is, as we've talked about this, is I realized so much of over delivering is, like you said, it's anticipating, or it's being really responsive, talking with your customers, developing relationships with your customers, just doing what's right and responding quickly can go a long way. So it doesn't have to cost you a lot. You don't have to add extra stuff in your packages. Just treat your customers right.
Yeah, and I like what you said about making the distinction between what customers think they want and what they actually need. Right? That's a really fine point that can make the difference between success and failure.
Yeah.
Right. Being able to build and emphasize on the things that they need, but also being able to educate them on, hey, yeah, I know you want this, but it sounds like your problem needs that, right? And whatever that is that you offer. So I like that. So this was episode 124. We are well into season 4 now. And if you want to know more, if you want to hear any of the 123 episodes before this, go to mikeandblaine.com, go to your favorite podcast directory. You can hear us there. And I want to thank Magic Mind. And I'm going to put my picture out there with Magic Mind. Maybe you can add in your their link. And I'll let you,
Yeah,
again.
you'll see it in the show notes. There's going to be the link to Magic Mind, but also to this deal. If it's before the end of January, make sure you hop on this deal. So that's going to be in the show notes here, so you can actually get to that. And enjoy Magic Mind, and it's going to help you kick off a good 2024. So thank you so much, and on to next week. Nice big round number, 125.
That's right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and buy us a beer. I'm Mike. That's Blaine. We'll see you next week.
All right. See you.
Check out their website at mikeandblaine.com. Then subscribe to the podcast and buy these guys a beer.